Central Virginia's longest-running high school academic quiz show. Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan. And now, host Cheryl Miller.
Hello and good morning. Thanks so much for joining us for Battle of the Brains. I'm Cheryl Miller. We wrapped up our regular Battle of the Brains season, crowning the team from Douglas Freeman High School as the 2022 champions. Congratulations to them. This week, our All-Star match has 8 of this season's elite players joining us for a special round. Our competition welcomes teams from schools all across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Joining us remotely today, randomly seated teams are Team Peak, that's Anderson, Joseph, Ensharaba, and Noah. We'll learn more about them ahead on the show. And Team Summit is Maisie, Grace, Gio, and Matthew. Again ahead, we'll find out where our players will be going off to school and their future plans, as all 8 All-Stars are high school seniors. Good to have all these students with us today. Because we can't all be together, here's how our All-Stars match will go. We've randomly divided the players into 2 teams. We'll have 4 toss-up rounds, alternating questions between the teams. Players will answer by raising their hand and waiting for me to call on them. There will be no point deductions for incorrect answers. And again, teams will have to wait until the question is completed before raising their hand. Good luck, students. Let's start our first toss-up round in our All-Stars match. The first question goes to Team Peak. In the board game Diplomacy, it is labeled impassable. Name this nation whose lack of prominence in war games parallels its real-life neutrality. Joseph.
Switzerland.
That is correct. Team Summit. In July 1969, this man became the first to walk on the moon. Name this pioneering astronaut. Gio.
Neil Armstrong.
Correct. Team Peak. This 605-foot-tall building's final design combined elements of a tethered balloon and a flying saucer. Name this Seattle landmark. Anderson.
The Space Needle.
Correct. Team Summit. In 1998, statues of Martin Luther King Jr. and 7 other 20th century martyrs were placed in the niches on the face of this nearly 1,000-year-old site of Poets' Corner. Name this London Abbey, the resting place of Britain's monarchs. Matthew.
Westminster.
That is correct. Team Peak. Taking place between 1754 and 1763, this conflict has become known as the 7 Years' War. At the time, what did British colonists call this conflict between Britain and France? Anderson.
The French and Indian War.
Correct. Team Summit. Name the only day of the week named after a mythological Roman god. Maisie.
Saturday.
That is correct, after Saturn. Team Peak, it is a type of strong windstorm. What is this word, which is also Dorothy's last name in The Wizard of Oz? Joseph.
Gale.
That is correct. Team Summit, Trouble in Tahiti and A Quiet Place are operas by this man. Who was this longtime director of the New York Philharmonic who wrote the music to the original West Side Story? Maisie.
Aaron Copland.
That would be Leonard Bernstein. Team Peak. Adele credits this singer for making her journey to the U.S. music scene a bit smoother. Name this British artist of Back to Black who was the first British female artist to win 5 Grammy Awards. Anderson.
Amy Winehouse.
That is correct. Team Summit. Born the daughter of Demeter and Zeus, she was kidnapped by Hades and became his wife in the underworld. Name this Greek goddess said to have returned to her mother every summer and to her husband every winter. Matthew.
Persephone.
That is correct. Team Peak, please watch the screen and listen closely. Here is your Virginia-based video question from a member of the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch.
The longest NASCAR track in Virginia is located in which city?
Joseph.
Bristol.
It's actually in Richmond. Team Summit. It was originally called the Soundabout in the United States. Name the Sony portable cassette player that debuted in Tokyo in 1979. Matthew.
Walkman.
Walkman is correct. Team Peak. In late 1946, Bedouin teenagers found 7 large jars containing these in a cave near the town of Qumran. By what collective name are these religious manuscripts known? Joseph.
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
That is correct. Team Summit. It is very high for peanut butter, moderate for honey, and low for water. Lower values of it are a marketing point for some brands of motor oil. Name this quantity, a liquid's resistance to flow. Gio.
Viscosity.
That is correct. And that buzzer means 1 toss-up round to go down and 3 to go. Good job by our teams here on this All-Stars match. We'll continue with more here on Battle of the Brains.
Welcome back to Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
And here are the scores following the first toss-up round on this All-Stars match of Battle of the Brains. All-Stars Team Peak with 60 points and All-Stars Team Summit with 60 points. And we'll get back to our match just ahead, but first we want to introduce you to today's All-Stars. Let's start with our Team Peak. First up is Anderson Smith, who is a senior at First Colonial High School in Virginia Beach. Always has a smile on her face. She'll be going to the University of Georgia this fall. Next up is Joseph Chambers, who is a senior at Douglas Freeman High School in Henrico County. Will be going to the University of Virginia this fall. In Sharaba, Asumadu Ado is a senior at Fork Union Military Academy in Fluvanna County. He'll be going off to Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey this fall. And Noah Renfrew is a senior with the Walk-in Truth Home Educators and will be headed off to college at Cedarville University in Ohio. Good to have these All-Stars with us today. Now our Team Summit. Maisie Fishman is a senior at Charlottesville High School in Albemarle County. Her favorite pastime is fencing. Next up is Grace Coleman, who's a senior at First Colonial High School in Virginia Beach. Grace is going to be going to Virginia Tech and majoring in engineering. Gio Mazzeo is a senior at Douglas Freeman High School in Henrico County. His favorite activity in school right now is Model UN, and he's still uncommitted to his college right now. And Matthew Larkin is a senior at Granby High School in Norfolk and will be headed off to the University of Virginia this fall. Congratulations to all of our players here with us today, and best of luck in your next step in life. Coming up next, our All-Stars version of Battle of the Brains continues with another toss-up round, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
One toss-up round down. Here are the scores right now on this All-Stars episode of Battle of the Brains. All-Stars Team Peak with 60 points. All-Star Team Summit with 60 points. And now it's back to Battle of the Brains, All-Stars, and another toss-up round. Our players have been divided randomly into teams. We're alternating questions between them in a timed toss-up round. There are no deductions for an incorrect answer. All right, the first question in this round goes to Team Peak. An accomplished physician and chemical engineer, Mae Jemison, is best known for her work at NASA. In 1992, she became the first African-American woman to be hired there. In what capacity? Joseph.
As an astronaut.
That is correct. Team Summit. This man's story begins in Exodus, where he is an assistant to his brother Moses. Name this biblical character who built the golden calf while Moses was away receiving the 10 Commandments. Matthew.
Aaron.
That is correct. Team Peak. This office was vacant during the entire terms of Fillmore, Tyler, Arthur, and Andrew Johnson. Name this office last unfulfilled in December 1974 before Nelson Rockefeller replaced the recently elevated Gerald Ford. Joseph.
Vice President of the United States.
That is correct. Team Summit. With a population of 1.38 billion people, name the second most populous nation in the world. Maisie.
India.
That is correct. Second to China. Team Peak. Troglobites are often slow-moving animals with very little skin pigmentation, large heads, lengthened limbs to make for more efficient movement, and small eyes or none at all. They are permanent residents of what geologic world? Joseph.
Caves.
That is correct. Team Summit. please watch the screen and listen closely. Here's your Virginia-based question from a member of the Battle of the Brains Brainy Bunch.
Which Virginian wrote the United States' Supreme Court opinion for Marbury versus Madison?
Gio.
Justice John Marshall.
That is correct. Team Peak, Atari kicked off the gaming era 50 years ago when it released what first commercially successful four-letter named arcade game? Anderson.
Pong.
Pong is correct. Team Summit, name the Swiss psychiatrist who founded the Analytical School of Psychology and proposed the now well-known personality types of extrovert and introvert. Matthew.
Young.
Carl Jung is correct. Team Peak, in what children's book written by Kenneth Graham and published in 1908 would you find the characters Mole, Rat, Badger, and Mr. Toad? Joseph.
The Wind in the Willows.
That is correct. Team Summit, the Bañados de Itzazog swamp is near this nation's border with Paraguay. Name this landlocked South American nation with the administrative capital city of La Paz. Gio.
Bolivia.
Bolivia is correct. Team Peak, his boss was Commissioner Dreyfus and his Chinese servant was named Cato. Name the character who was portrayed by both Peter Sellers and Steve Martin in the Pink Panther movie series. Joseph.
Inspector Clouseau.
That is correct. Team Summit, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, and Mount Shasta are all peaks in the Cascades Range that extends from British Columbia to Northern California. The mountain range takes its name from the cascades of what nearby river? Maisie.
The Colorado River.
It would be the Columbia River. Team Peak, often numbering about 100 million, they are found outside the fovea and use rhodopsin to aid in night vision. Name these structures in the retina of the eye, the counterparts of cones. Anderson.
Rods.
That is correct. And that buzzer means one more toss-up round ahead here on this all-star version of Battle of the Brains. Stay right here.
Welcome back to Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.
And here are the scores as we head into the final round here on Battle of the Brains All-Stars. All-Star Team Peak with 130 points. All-Stars Team Summit with 110 points. And for this final toss-up round, the point score for correct answer is doubled, and there's no deduction for an incorrect answer. And again, in this virtual version of Battle of the Brains, in a timed round, we'll direct questions team to team, alternating between them. We're going to start this final toss-up round with a question for Team Summit. With what Chinese political opponent did Chiang Kai-shek ally himself in the early stages of China's struggle to repel the Japanese invasion of 1936? Matthew.
Mao Zedong.
That is correct. Team Peak, what president of the United States created the Peace Corps with an executive order in the first year of his administration? Joseph.
John F. Kennedy.
That's correct, on March 1st, 1961. Team Summit, it is defined as 1 at 0, so it gives the number of permutations of n objects for all non-negative integers n. Name this operation denoted by an exclamation point. Gio.
The factorial operation.
That is correct. Team Peak, in a Shakespeare tragedy, her final words are "to bed" after she madly washes her hands of imaginary blood, saying, "Out, damn spot." Name this lady who conspires in Duncan's murder to be Queen of Scotland. Anderson.
Lady Macbeth.
That is correct. Team Summit, the will of Englishman Cecil Rhodes bequeathed most of his fortune to the establishment of highly competitive scholarships. What prestigious university do these scholarship winners attend? Gracie.
Oxford.
That is correct, University of Oxford. Team Peak, these curves have eccentricities between 0 and 1 and can be defined as the set of points for which the sum of the distances to two given foci is a constant. Name this kind of conic section that, according to Kepler's first law, represents planetary orbits. Joseph.
Ellipse.
That is correct. Team Summit, what type of natural disaster struck Johnstown, Pennsylvania, May 31st, 1889, killing over 2,200 people? Gio.
A flood.
That is correct. Team Peak, in what European city in 1936 did American track and field star Jesse Owens win his 4 Olympic gold medals? Joseph.
Berlin.
Berlin is correct. Team Summit, before a 1323 earthquake, a mosque was located at its top. Name this ancient wonder of the world that helped triremes find their way to an Egyptian port at night. Gio.
The Lighthouse of Alexandria.
That is correct. Team Peak, this man avenged the death of his father Aeson by killing his uncle Peleus with the help of his wife Medea, but he was later killed by the prow of his own ship, the Argo. Name this man who found the Golden Fleece. Anderson.
Odysseus.
That is incorrect. The answer is Jason. Team Summit, sulfur contains 16 electrons in an atom. How many protons are contained in an atom of sulfur? Maisie.
16.
That is correct. Team Peak, his profound sayings include, forget injuries, never forget kindness, and what the superior man seeks is in himself, and what the small man seeks is in others. Name this BC philosopher whose real name was Kongzu. Joseph.
Confucius.
Correct. Team Summit. This author's Greek revival house in the Garden District of New Orleans served as a model for the home of the Mayfair witches in Mayfield Manor. Name this writer of the Vampire Chronicles series. Maisie.
Anne Rice.
That is correct. And that buzzer means the end of our match. While our judges double-check the final score for this all-star match, here's how to stay connected with Battle of the Brains. To find out more about our show, just log on to battleofthebrains.net. You'll also find Battle of the Brains on Facebook and full episodes of our show on our YouTube page. Battle of the Brains has a history that began as an in-school competition with creator Julian Porter and was first televised starting in 1979. We hope you'll join us this fall as we celebrate our 20th season of hosting this academic quiz show. Until then, enjoy a special encore match over the summer of Matches Over the Summer with Battle of the Brains summer season, beginning next Saturday with Douglas Freeman High School versus Jamestown High School. Now, here's our final score for our all-star match. It was a close match all the way. Ending the match with 230 points, our All-Stars Team Peak. That's Anderson, Joseph, and Sharaba, and Noah. And our winners of this All-Star match with a final score of 250 points, Maisie, Grace, Gio, and Matthew. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of our All-Star players, and thank you to all of our students who joined us all season long. Thanks so much for playing and watching here on Battle of the Brains. We'll see you next week. Great job.
Battle of the Brains, presented by Virginia 529 College Savings Plan.